Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars.
SoundCartel.
From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. From time to time, new business theories germinate from learned institutions, and often those theories don't work out nearly as well when applied in practice. Take blue ocean strategy, made famous by professors of the prestigious European Institute of Business Administration, whose book of the same name has sold millions around the world. The concept involves capturing blue oceans of unexplored new markets. If you think about it for a minute, it just doesn't make any sense, says entrepreneur Roy Osing. It's indicative of a lot of academic thinking. They don't run businesses, so they don't know what it really takes to grow one. A broader message from Roy is you need to be careful where you get your information and inspiration from. First, Roy explains Blue Ocean strategy to Chris Ashmore.
Blue Ocean strategy basically argues that the solution to business and growth is to operate somehow in an uncontested market. So what you need to do is find your blue ocean, which is an ocean where there is zero competition. So the authors of this work suggest that organizations need to create blue oceans because profitability in a blue ocean market is greater than what they call a red ocean. Now, a red ocean is a marketplace that's heavily contested, and clearly there's blood spilled associated with the competition that goes on. So I got to make a couple of comments here, Chris. So first of all, I haven't seen any evidence, quite frankly, that it works. I mean, it's one of these great sort of academic, theoretical notions looking for some high performers to justify. And I haven't seen it. I'm not aware of its use. I see red ocean people executing well and performing well. And in fact, I would say that 99.9% of businesses in the world operate in red oceans. And I would also say that I'll bet you 99.9% of the organizations on your ASX are also red ocean companies. For example, Whitehaven Coal Limited had the highest net gain on your stock exchange in 2022. I'd be willing to bet they didn't do it because of blue ocean strategy, that they did a lot of block and tackling. They did a lot of other things really, really well that enabled them to get there. Look, it's not the only one out there like this. There's all sorts of high-level theoretical constructs of strategy that unfortunately never degenerate into practical things businesses can do day in and day out to actually achieve it. It's one thing to say, go create a blue ocean. It's one thing to say, go find a market that's uncontested. And it's another thing to figure out how to do it. Now, if you dig deep into the book, they talk a lot about products and services, how to position products and services. Okay, well, successful organizational performance isn't just about products and services. It's a lot more than that.
The Blue Ocean strategy, it reflects a lot of business advice out there, doesn't it? It looks good on paper, but it doesn't work in practice.
And you know what? I don't want to denigrate the thinking process. We need thought leaders, okay? We need them. But we need to corral them. We need to corral them within the realities of a business leader and their world, okay, to address the problems that we have. Okay, we need thought leadership applied to practical problems that yield practical solutions. We don't need thought leaders, seriously, in business anyways, okay, that are touting and creating 10,000-foot solutions which cannot be promulgated down to the practical level. Because on any scale, the utility of that is close to zero. Look, I'm a practical dude. Yeah, I got a bachelor's degree. Well, not very much, but I tell you what, I've never used it. I've never solved a business problem using a differential equation. Why should I think that a blue ocean strategy is any different? I get what it is, and I know the realities okay, of trying to execute kind of foggy concepts. Although intellectually pristine, they're foggy in terms of how do I do it. And so we need to get professors, we need to get writers, we need to get other consultants to talk more to business leaders and learn more about what our problems are. And then go apply your incredible, brilliant mind to figuring out solutions and new ideas to those problems. Okay, not some sort of nebulous construct of something that can't be implemented. We got way too many of those, and unfortunately, they're not helpful.
Well, for a business owner, that can be hard to find the right information. How then do you suggest they find the right information? Is it a matter of finding a right mentor?
It was a good question, and the first thing I thought about was examine your sources of learning. Okay, so if you're a business leader out there, just take an hour or two and write down on a piece of paper where you learn your stuff. Where do you learn the things that are valuable to you to put into practice to help build your business performance? And if you're coming up short, go find those. Yeah, there'll be mentors, there'll be sources of content, because the world has never been in a better place in terms of presenting content to people, right? And so, I mean, literally the world's your oyster and you can go do it. So it starts out that way. I say beware of theoretical papers. Unless you have this kind of like, horribly sense of insomnia and you want it cured. Because from a practical point of view, it won't help you the next day. Okay, beat the competition in your markets. Find some leaders, and this is kind of the mentor thing. I'm an advocate of following people who have an MBA. Now, it's not the MBA you think of, Chris. These are Masters in Business Achievement. It's a different MBA. It's Roy's MBA is a Master of Business Achievement. Go find some of those people. Chances are they won't have 3 or 6 or 9 letters behind their names, and that's good. If they've driven superlative, unmatched performance for their organization, find these people and go chat them up. Develop a relationship with them. That's what we need to do. So it's a leadership issue. Don't get sucked in by the vortex of academia.
You've brought a business from startup to $1 billion. Did you have a mentor, Roy?
Yeah, interesting. Most of my mentors weren't around me physically. Okay, like I was one of these guys that was a voracious learner about stuff that simply wasn't around me. Like, for example, coming out of the monopoly telco world into a highly competitive world, I reasoned earlier that we need to be much more marketing focused. We got to get away from taking orders. We need to be into customer service, etc. The skills and competencies to do that, I didn't have around me. So I had to go out and find them. And I found them in organizations, typically in the US, because they were ahead of us in that competitive scale. So I searched them out. I learned as much as I could. And here's the difference, though. I selected the stuff that made sense for me. I didn't copy them. I took what they learned and said, okay, if I took this idea and twisted it 90 degrees, it would work for us from a practical point of view. And also reading certain authors that came from business, I learned some stuff from, some ideas with practicality. A guy that from a marketing point of view I had a lot of respect for and I got to know a little bit was Seth Godin in the United States. He worked an awful lot, wrote a lot about and executed around notions like remarkability, the purple cow, and all that kind of stuff. Interestingly, in the Blue Ocean work, they make reference to remarkability but from Seth Godin, but they don't go any further than that. They just dump it to Seth and then move on. But, people who had track records, who had actually done stuff, they were magnets for me. And whenever I found them, and in customers too, I used a lot of customers as mentors because on a day-to-day basis, they were living the pain and agony, of a competitive world. And I was okay with that. I just wanted to suck all that info out of them and experience out of them. And it was great, an engagement tool, because I'd invite them in to talk to my organization about what was really going on in the world. And that was loyalty building, by the way. They loved being asked. So they liked the attention and they never left me.
That was entrepreneur Roy Osing. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow at BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.